Hello ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary compatriots. I'm Rafe Rickard and welcome back to Superhero Kill Counts. Today we're taking a look at the first attempt to adapt the Dark Phoenix storyline into a big budget movie. Did it work? Well, according to most fans, not so much. According to me, this movie is enjoyable as hell. I'm a firm believer in the idea that a movie doesn't have to be good to be enjoyed. And anyway, it is still leagues better than Fox's second attempt at the story. But we will get there when we get there, and oh boy do I not want to get there. X-Men The Last Stand, directed by Brett Ratner, is the finale of the original X-Men trilogy, marking the farewells of many of the main cast members, as the franchise shifted into more prequels and spin-offs. That's kinda like another franchise I can think of. I have to say, it is upsetting to say goodbye to so many wonderful actors. But that means that anyone is up for joining the kill count today, so let's stop wasting time and see how many X-Men give their last stand. The film opens with narration. Wait, what? There's no narration? Oh man, this movie is a disappointment. I see what all those bad reviews were getting at. I am sorry, everybody. The actual movie starts 20 years ago, where a walking Charles Xavier and his best buddy Eric Lencher meet with a young mutant named Jean Grey. Yes, I know the prequels say that Charles was paralyzed and had his falling out with Eric in the 1960s. It's best not to dwell on those things. They tell Jean about Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, and that they can help her control her abilities if she comes with them. She's skeptical at first, but when they show off their powers, all it takes is a stantastic cameo to make her say yes. We time jump again, this time 10 years after that meeting, to see a young Warren Worthington III cutting his wings off to hide his mutant nature from his father. It's a truly heartbreaking scene that leads us to our opening credits, and we have a title. Now we're all caught up to the not too distant future. It's here that the X-Men are in a heated battle. All the old faves are here except Cyclops, and some exploding debris nearly hits Bobby. He's saved last minute by Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, who has the ability of intangibility, allowing her to pass through any surface unscathed. This is the first moment we see of the love triangle subplot that will appear throughout the movie, between Rogue, Bobby, and Kitty, which is just hilarious to me now because Iceman is gay. As their foe approaches, Logan decides to end this now and has Colossus give him a boost. He cuts off the head of the Sentinel they're fighting, and it's all revealed to be a simulated training program as part of their curriculum. Look, I know I already said that this school was like Hogwarts, but how is this any different than putting kids on broomsticks with wooden bats and telling them to beat the crap out of each other? Storm gets mad at Logan for not following protocol, but he's just subbing for the day. It's here that we find out Scott isn't teaching because he's still mourning Jean. Like, dude, it's been 3 years. Let it go.
Maybe it's time for us to move on.
Not everybody heals as fast as you, Logan.
See, even Logan agrees, but he can't let it go because he's being visited by jump scare visions of the day he lost her and Jean's voice calling out to him. We cut to the government's Department of Mutant Affairs and meet their secretary Hank McCoy, aka Beast, played by Fraser Crane himself, Kelsey Grammer. He's heading off to a meeting with the new president to discuss Homeland Security's pursuit of Magneto since his prison break. They haven't been able to locate Eric, but they did manage to bag this naked blue lady, Mystique, whose name we now know is Raven Darkholm.
Raven, I asked you a question.
I don't answer to my slave name.
Damn it, Raven, it is so hard to deal with you sometimes. But if you think Raven is irritating in the not too distant future, just wait until we get to know her in the past. Turns out, Mystique stole something pretty big from the government that leaves even Hank shooketh. Back in the classroom, Professor X is teaching the students about mutant ethics, and when it's acceptable to use your powers. Kitty answers back by quoting Einstein, so that's how we know she's an SMRT smart girl. The professor then decides to act like a lazy substitute, and he puts on a video. This video is a case study by Dr. Moira McTaggart, where she lists the details of a brain-dead patient she's been treating. Charles asks the class to ponder over the ethics of potentially putting someone else's consciousness into the body of someone like this patient. I know it all sounds pretty wild and out there, and that's because it is, but trust me, both this concept and Moira McTaggart will be coming back later. Class is cut short, and Charles has a talk with Storm as she wonders why mutants should still be in hiding when it looks like society might finally be coming around to them. Charles says it's to protect the students from their enemies, and on a more important note, he's been thinking about having her take his place if he were to ever leave. Originally, that role would have gone to Scott, but Scott seems to be a changed man lately. Beast shows up at the mansion to meet with Charles and tell him about the thing that made his fur stand on end earlier. Turns out top scientists have created a so-called mutant cure that can suppress the gene that gives mutants their abilities. As Warren Worthington II announces the cure on the news, as well as mentioning that it will be manufactured on Alcatraz Island, Rogue looks on in hope. This cure causes a rift in the X family, as Storm is adamantly against the idea. But then again, she also has the ability to control the weather, and she's arguing with a girl who can kill anyone with her touch. So maybe Rogue is a little entitled to feel this way.
Not all of us can fit in so easily. You don't shed on the furniture.
The Cure announcement has also been bothering an underground mutant rights group called the Omegas. When we first meet them, they're listening to a speech given by actor Julian Richings, who you may recognize as Des from Supernatural, and was an all-around wonderful man when I met him in 2016. They're not too fond of this idea, as noted by Omega member Elizabeth Braddock, aka Psylocke, played by Mae Melanson, who would later show up in an episode of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Comic credentials for everyone.
Nobody's talking about extermination.
No one ever talks about it. They just do it.
Their debate is cut short, however, when Magneto enters the fray and delivers a speech. He wants to rally the Omegas to his side and join the Brotherhood of Mutants to fight this Cure with every ounce of their being. As Magneto and Pyro go to leave, they're accosted by Callisto, the Omega leader, with her teammates Philippa Sontag and Maxwell Jordan, or Arclight and Quill, respectively, watching her back.
You're so proud of being a mutant. Where's your mark?
I have been marked once, my dear, and let me assure you, no needle shall ever touch my skin again.
Callisto has the ability to run super fast, but more importantly, she can track other mutants by their powers, and a deal is brokered between the Omegas and the Brotherhood. Meanwhile, Mystique is in the middle of being transported, and she's being watched over by this one guard who says exactly what I say every time I hear Donald Trump speak.
Oh, Mr. President.
Shut up!
All while Mystique promises to finally give us our first kill of the movie.
When I get out of here, I'm gonna kill you myself.
Back at Worthington Labs, Hank is intent on investigating the source of the cure. It turns out that the source is actually a young mutant named Jimmy, or more affectionately known to comic fans as Leech. His power is to sap the powers from other mutants when in close proximity to them. And while we're on the topic of checking in on other characters, Scott's back, still hearing Jean's voice calling to him and taking his motorcycle out for a spin down to Alkali Lake. The voices overwhelm him and he rips off his glasses to let out some steam. Yeah, Scott, you show that lake who's boss. A rift appears in the lake, blowing him onto his back. But when he gets back up, he sees Jean? He asks her how she survived, and she says she doesn't know. They go in for a hug, and Jean asks to see his eyes. He tells her no, because obviously that's a bad idea, but she says it's okay and that she can control it, whatever that means. He opens his eyes, and instead of melting her head off immediately, Jean manages to keep his face lasers in check. And since Scott loves magic tricks, he lays a big old smooch on his newly revived girlfriend. But uh-oh, those kisses come with a price, because her face gets all evil looking, and the professor senses a disturbance in the force. When Storm and Logan arrive at Alkali Lake, they see some floaty foliage and a whole bunch of fog. Once Storm clears the air, they find an unconscious Jean, and Logan spies Scott's little eyes off in the distance. Well, his sunglasses at least. And that is enough to make Scott Summers the premier kill of X3. Rest in peace, Cyclops. And I bet you thought it was gonna be that guard. They bring Jean back to their base, and the professor looks her over. He comes up with the theory that Jean's powers instinctively formed a sort of cocoon around her to shield her from the waves. He explains to Logan that when Jean was younger, she was so powerful that it proved dangerous to everybody. So he decided that the best idea, of course, is to put up a psychic barrier in her mind to shield off her darker side. You know, like your teachers used to do to you in grade school. And that side broke free when Jean needed to be protected. The darker version of Jean is known as Phoenix, so in order to differentiate, I will be calling her Phoenix for pretty much the rest of the movie, okay? The professor is trying to restore Jean's mental block, but Logan's not having any of those mind games. It's too bad the professor don't give a hoot, dude.
I don't have to explain myself. Least of all to you.
Back at Worthington Labs, they're ready to test the mutant cure on a willing participant, Warren Worthington III, now played by Ben Foster. Man, this guy is so handsome, it's almost like he's an angel. And speaking of handsome, why is everybody so handsome in these movies? Guys, you're making me look bad. They strap Warren in and prepare the serum, but he starts having some second thoughts about this whole thing, and he busts out those angel wings. Oh yeah! He pulls off a pretty good
A Cinderella Story
reenactment.
It's what we all want.
No. It's what you want.
Throw away your dream.
No, Dad. Throwing away yours.
And jumps out the window, flying off to freedom as Jimmy watches on in awe. Callisto managed to track the truck Mystique is on, and Magneto shows up to give her some help. This truck is being guarded by soldiers and cars that Magneto just smashes and throws away like toys. Now there are 4 guards in the first car that he crushes, and while we only see 2 in the second car, it is likely that there were 2 more in the back seat just like the first one, so we'll make that another 4 too. He flips the other 2 cars, but I'm going for confirmed or implied kills here. And my optimism says that soldiers in full armored gear could potentially survive that. I already added 2 more than I saw, I'm not trying to overinflate my kills, guys. Finally, he flips the truck, and in our brief glimpse that we get of the driver's seat, we only see the one soldier, and that guy definitely didn't survive this. Inside the trailer, where the prisoners are being kept, one guard smacks into the wall and knocks himself out, while our sassy guard friend slides into Mystique's cell where she snaps his neck with her feet. Magneto makes it in and meets up with her to discuss her mission. It turns out what she stole was information. She fills Magneto in on Jimmy's location, and he recruits some more mutants to his cause. The Brotherhood of Mutants now welcomes James Madrox, aka Multiple Man, and Kane Marco, aka The Juggernaut. And he's played by Vinnie Jones, who would go on to appear in season 3 of Arrow. Our unconscious guard comes to and attempts to shoot Eric, but Raven jumps in front of him to take that syringe? Yeah, that's right, these guards ain't using boring old bullets, they're packing a cure! After Pyro lights the guard up all nice and toasty, Raven falls to the ground and begins losing her mutant abilities. Much to Eric's chagrin, and in an act of cold-bloodedness, Eric just leaves her behind, no longer a part of his crusade.
Such a shame. She was so beautiful.
Hank gets into a row with the president because he finds those cure bullets inexcusable. That's enough for Hank to go back to his roots and become an X-Man once again. Logan is checking in on Jean when she wakes up from her slumber, and she starts getting all intimate with him. At first, he's all for it, but then her vibes turn rancid and he calls it off. He realizes he's talking to Phoenix now, and when he asks exactly what happened to Scott, she loses it. She starts breaking things until Jean comes back into control and begs Logan to kill her.
Kill me before I kill someone else.
Don't say that.
Please.
Stop it.
Unfortunately, that party pooper Phoenix takes control again and knocks Logan out before escaping. In Magneto's base, he and Pyro plan to build an army. And what does an army always need? Weapons. Good thing Callisto can sense Phoenix's power, and she informs Magneto pronto. It turns out Jean is holed up in her childhood home, and Magneto manages to make it there at the same time as Professor X. And don't you hate it when that happens? Whatever happened to being fashionably late? They react rationally to each other, knowing the other's plan, and decide to confront Phoenix together, just as they had done when Jean was little. Also, I just want to point out this obscure moment that'll come back in the most hilarious way later.
Nobody gets inside.
Charles attempts to reason with Phoenix, reminding her of the home and family that she built back at the mansion. But impatient little Eric can't wait his turn, and starts telling Phoenix about how Charles wants to manipulate her and cage her power.
So you want to control me?
No, he does. No.
Charles reaffirms that he only wants to help Jean, but Eric continues playing that magnetic little devil on her shoulder. As he and Charles go back and forth like the old married couple they obviously are, Phoenix's powers start to act up as she grows overwhelmed, starting off a blast that knocks Eric through a glass door and alerts Logan and Storm that they need to get in there. Logan takes on the Juggernaut, and remember when Magneto told Juggernaut not to let anyone into the house? I love that! Storm takes on Quill, Arclight, and Callisto at the same time and manages to get inside as well. As the fight continues down below, on the top floor, Phoenix is losing patience. She begins to lift Charles out of his chair and takes the whole house up with him. With one last piece of sage advice from the professor, she disintegrates Charles Xavier as Eric Lencher is pinned down, forced to watch his old friend die before his very eyes. Now that's what I call bringing down the house. Phoenix takes off with Magneto as Logan and Storm grieve the loss of the professor. At the funeral, Storm delivers some powerful words as Logan watches from the distance, disconnected from the others. Kitty is taking this really hard, so Bobby decides to cheer her up with some ice skating, as his girlfriend watches from her room, unable to hold him in the way she'd like. Rogue has had enough of this hetero Iceman BS and decides it's time for drastic measures. It's time to be cured. Logan stops her in the hall and gives her some good fatherly advice.
Look, if you want to go, then go. Just be sure it's what you want.
Alright, dad skills. As Magneto and Phoenix look over the army they're building, he begins to build up her powers and sugarcoat her, but she sees through this plot and threatens him with syringes full of the cure. She's running this bitch now. The other Brotherhood members aren't too keen on Jean, and they're very vocal about it. Oh yeah, and we get this nice Cherrick moment.
Would've killed the professor if he'd given me the chance.
Charles Xavier did more for mutants than you'll ever know. The single greatest regret is that he had to die for our dream to live.
With Professor X gone, everyone is at a loss for words. Hank suggests closing the school altogether, but an impromptu visit from Warren revitalizes the hope that this school can bring. Bobby finds out Rogue is missing because he's an attentive boyfriend like that, and he sets off to find her. At the same time, Logan hears Jean's voice in his head, and in true Wolverine fashion, breaks from the group to track her down by himself in an attempt to bring back the real Jean.
Listen, why can't you see the truth, huh? Why can't you just let her go? Because you love her.
As Bobby makes it to a cure distribution center, he finds himself in the middle of a mutant protest, and it's there that he runs into Pyro, who is just the worst.
Come on, Iceman. Make a move.
He shoots a fireball into the building, blowing it up. Now, there's no way of knowing if anyone died during that attack, so I can't really add anyone to the count, sorry. But don't worry, I think you'll be satisfied with the number at the end. Magneto issues a threat that the violence will increase if this cure persists. The president, however, decides to escalate things in a true politician manner.
Magneto wants a war. We'll give him one.
The military is armed with plastic cure guns, and the final battle inches closer by the minute. Logan runs into an Omega named Darian Elliott, or Spike, who attempts to kill Logan by throwing, well, spikes. After a lucky surprise attack, Logan takes the offense and gets Spike with one of his spikes. As more Omegas come over to check out what's going on, Logan drops from a tree and stabs 2 of them in the back before slicing a 3rd one across the chest. He stabs another 2 and slashes 1 more before taking on Spike mano a mano, which ends with Logan shoving his claws into his chest. Logan crashes Magneto's rally, where he's conveying his plan to go to Alcatraz Island and wipe out the cure, with a disguise that only Thor would approve of, and scopes out Phoenix, who sees him and retreats into the woods where Logan follows. He attempts to confront her, but Magneto pins him to a tree because, you know, metal bones, and after a brief bit of "you'll never get away with this" from Logan, Magneto yeets him through the trees. Back in the White House, the president is told by Trask, oh yeah, this guy's name is Trask, but he's not that Trask, so it doesn't really matter, that Homeland Security has finally pinpointed Magneto's location, all thanks to a little help from a former ally. The military surrounds the base and prepares an assault on what appears to be Magneto's entire army, but nope, it's just multiple man.
Okay. I give up.
Got him! Wait, so if Magneto's not there, then where the hell is he?
If he's not there, then where the hell is he?
Exactly! I'll tell you where the hell he is. He's about to take it to the bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge, that is. He's in San Francisco, preparing to attack Worthington Labs. Logan makes it back to the mansion and clues the fam in on the 411, as the kids say these days. Warren overhears this and decides that he should put his powers to good use. After a rousing speech of heroism,
Then we stand together. X-Men. All of us.
the team heads off for the titular last stand. On the Golden Gate Bridge, Magneto causes some major traffic jams and begins to collapse the bridge like he's a freaking Mothman. In the most extra entrance imaginable, he steals a part of the bridge to use as transportation to Alcatraz Island. However, I went frame by frame in this footage, and although we see rubble falling, it doesn't appear that anyone died during the bridge demolition, just in case you were wondering. He drops the bridge onto the island, soldiers narrowly avoiding the crash, as this little joke gets a smile out of both Magneto and me. So Magneto's army goes to war, and he stays back waiting for his time to shine, and so the final battle commences. After attempting a callback to the first movie,
Humans and their guns.
he realizes that these weapons are full of the cure, and not so easily manipulated. Unfortunately for our kill count, but luckily for my sleep schedule, if a soldier shoots a mutant, we know it's non-lethal, and we see the cure in action right from the start. See, he's fine. The soldiers get quite a few shots in there, but Magneto is tired of waiting, and he has Arclight destroy the guns for him. It works, and now the killing can begin. An Omega named Ash lights 5 guards on fire before the X-Men show up and pause the battle. After their grand entrance, the killing ensues. Logan crushes an Omega by dropping a lamppost on him, and slashes 3 more with his claws. Beast mauls a couple of Omegas, and at first I wanted to count this as a kill, but Beast doesn't really kill anyone for the rest of the battle, so I'm assuming he's just incapacitating them. And just like Beast, the other X-Men are taking non-lethal approaches to fighting. Can't say the same for Logan though, because he comes back with a 3-fer. Magneto orders Juggernaut to storm the base and kill Jimmy, while Logan adds another body to our pile. Juggernaut plows through soldiers. However, he's not interested in killing them. He wants that boy, and he barrels into that base with Shadow Cat close behind him. Logan slashes another 2 Omegas before he's challenged by a mutant that even his claws don't work on. This one goes by Starfish, but Logan takes care of him with an old classic.
Grow those back.
Kitty manages to grab Juggernaut and trap him in the floor, where he delivers this iconic line that I can't tell if I love or hate, honestly.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Kitty takes advantage of his momentum by throwing him off his rhythm. She manages to escape his rampage and run off to find Jimmy. Inside the treatment facility, Warren Worthington II and Dr. Kavita Rao are stopped in the hallway by Arclight and Quill, while Psylocke blocks their path from the other side. Psylocke and Arclight take Worthington away, while Quill stays behind and kills Dr. Rao with quills that I guess were long enough to pierce through her? Maybe it got into her neck? I don't know. This kill bothers me. Back on the battlefield, Logan stabs and flashes 3 more Omegas, while Hank watches his 6. Inside, Kitty manages to track down Jimmy, but her powers don't work around him, leaving them completely trapped as the Juggernaut busts through the wall like he's trying to sell them Kool-Aid. Oh yeah! So Kitty thinks of the best insult she can manage.
I'm the wrong guy to play hide and seek with.
Who's hiding, dickhead?
The Juggernaut crashes against the wall, knocking himself out. Can you imagine if the Deadpool 2 Juggernaut went down this easily? Worthington II is being held captive on the roof of the base, and he's about to be dropped to his death, but oh, a last-minute interception from Angel. Ooh, what a tackle! Meanwhile, Storm and Callisto face off, and that ends when Storm slams Callisto into a metal fence and just electrocutes her to death. Are we sure that Wolverine is really the killer in these movies? Pyro finally gets something to do, as Magneto starts throwing cars and Pyro sets them ablaze. Logan calls for everyone to take cover, but that doesn't appear to happen for these 4 soldiers who are way too close to that blast radius to make it out alive. Once Magneto and Pyro start going ham on the explosions, it makes the kill counting a bit murky. In this shot, we can see what I think are 15 bodies on the ground. It's basically impossible to know if these are people we've already counted, or even if these are just large car parts that I'm confusing for people, so I'm just gonna add 15 to be on the safe side. Logan finds a cartridge of syringes, and he, Storm, Beast, and Iceman devise a plan. Teamwork, baby! Storm creates some cover while Iceman takes on Pyro. Now that's a song of ice and fire if I've ever seen one. As the fog rolls in, there's a shot of the battlefield which looks like it's littered with bodies, but it is virtually impossible to distinguish any characteristics to prove they're even people. So let's say we counted them already because my eyes hurt from staring at this footage. Sound good? Bobby manages a knockout, and Colossus and Wolverine go for the old grab and throw. As Logan nears his target, Magneto catches him midair because of course he does. But wait, it was all a distraction so the Beast could sneak up from behind and inject Eric with 4 syringes full of the cure. Magneto falls to the ground in shock and defeat before calling out his Hail Mary, one last plea for the Phoenix to end it all. I know it's the cure, Eric, but you gotta remember that boys don't cry. As the soldiers crowd around Phoenix, they fire, and she disintegrates their bullets, and then, she disintegrates every single one of them. Now, by my count, there were 33 soldiers up on that hill before the Phoenix unleashed her powers, so add every single one of them to this list. As everybody flees the battlefield, Kitty and Jimmy catch up with Bobby, while Magneto looks on in regret for all the chaos that he's unleashed.
What have I done?
Well, I don't know, Eric. Maybe this wouldn't have happened if you followed Darth Vader's business model.
No disintegration.
Storm begins saving as many people as she can, while the Phoenix goes on a mass disintegration spree, starting off with Arclight, Psylocke, and Quill. This is followed up with a little panning shot that feels like Infinity War came early. I counted 6 people who were turned to dust by the Phoenix. In one last attempt to stop this, Logan tries to appeal to the real Jean. His healing factor rejects her powers, and he struggles his way up the trash heap on which she stands. When Logan tells her what she means to him, he unlocks a hidden character, Jean Grey. And with these final words to each other,
Save me.
Logan stabs her in the gut, adding Jean Grey and the Phoenix to the kill count. Logan cries as he holds Jean's lifeless body in his arms, and the fight is over. At the mansion, Jean is laid to rest next to Scott and the Professor. Bobby reunites with Rogue, who chose to get the cure, and can now maintain her relationship with that frosty homosexual who doesn't deserve her. Jimmy is welcomed into the school with open arms, and Hank McCoy is promoted to ambassador for the United Nations. Logan walks out on the balcony and looks off at the horizon for all the prequels and spin-offs to come, while Angel flies by in the distance. The movie ends with Eric Lencher, now an ordinary man in an ordinary park, playing ordinary chess all alone. That is until a metal queen begins to move. Wow! Whoa! But we're not done yet. This is a Marvel movie, and that means post-credits, motherfluffers! We find ourselves in the hospital room of that brain-dead patient from the beginning of the movie. Moira McTaggart comes in to check on him, and she hears a familiar voice.
Hello, Moira.
Charles.
In total, I counted 102 kills in X-Men The Last Stand.
And I thought 24 was high.
The Platinum Batarang for coolest kill goes to Professor X. He's one of the most beloved X-Men characters, and it's pretty sad to see him go like this. And yeah, he comes back by the end of the movie, but this is a comic book movie, what more do you want? The Rusty Shield for lamest kill will go to Dr. Rao for the Quill kill, because I hate thinking about how deep those quills would have to go to kill her. It just doesn't make sense to me. X-Men The Last Stand came out in 2006, and while it was a financial success, it didn't go over well with fans or critics. But after watching it again for this video, I actually think it might be my favorite of the original trilogy. It is just so fun to watch, guys. Next time, I'll be taking a look at the first of many prequels in the X-Men franchise, and this is one that even I can't defend.
Make sure to tune in next time as we cover X-Men Origins Wolverine.
See you then, super friends.